And then you also have a couple of different compile modes as well. So fast or draft mode, that will eliminate the images from that preview so that you can spend more time just compiling text and not having to compile those images. So I had a question about, is it possible to set 2 different languages for the spell check? No, you have to select only one when you're working in Overleaf. And then how many images, formulas, and words can we have to compile quickly? I'm going to give a very unsatisfying answer of it depends. Basically just give it a try. We also have some help articles about how best to optimize your images for fast compilation. We have some compile timeouts built in within our system. And if that's something you're running into a lot, then you may want to reach out to our support team and we can help you make your document compile a little more quickly. We do have users who can compile their entire PhD dissertation on the free plan in Overleaf, so we can handle quite a lot. The next tab I have here is the review tab, and this is if you have upgraded features. There's a track changes feature, so you can turn on track changes and see what that looks like. So you can add a tracked change, and then you can go back later and reject or accept that tracked change. We also have the share button. So this is another really important Overleaf feature, and this is why Overleaf was originally created, and probably why you might want to be using Overleaf as well, is the ability to share. So we have a couple of different ways to share. So one is to invite collaborators. So I can actually invite myself, my alter ego there. I'll make sure I can edit, and then I'll click share. And then my other self is going to get a dashboard notification. And once I get that dashboard notification, then I can actually join the project, and we'll see now that alter ego has accepted and can edit the document. I can also revoke access by clicking the X. And if I want to share more broadly, so free plans can only invite one collaborator, and the other plans can invite varying numbers of collaborators in. But even on a free plan, if you turn on link sharing, you can provide a read and edit link to everyone you'd like, and anyone with that link can edit that project. So that means that if you want to distribute that link anywhere, you absolutely can. We've seen over 100 collaborators in a single project before, so we're there and ready for your users to come and work on your project with you. At any time, you can turn off link sharing, and you can remove collaborators, so you can control who can see your project. There's a question about Grammarly. No, we don't yet integrate with Grammarly, but we currently have a beta project going on with Writefull. That's spelled W-R-I-T-E-F-U-L-L. And Writefull has a browser plugin that you can use with Overleaf, and it's a great service. It's actually optimized for scientific and academic writing. So if you'd like to take a look at that, I believe we have a webinar coming up in September about that one as well. It might not be quite on our schedule yet, but if you're interested in learning more about that Writefull integration, I'd encourage you to try it out and come to the webinar. Okay, so we've got a couple more things to cover, and then we'll get to some more questions. So one is the submit button. So the submit button allows you to share your work. If you, oops, I have to compile it first. We're very smart about that. We won't let you submit something that hasn't been successfully compiled. But that submit button in most cases opens up our journals and services menu. So you can submit things to the Overleaf gallery, and that's for other users to use as templates. So Overleaf is always auto-saving, so you don't have to submit anything in order to save it. And then we have certain academic journals that we have links with as well. So you'll see we've got MNRAS here, and this will take you to a direct link for submission. Not every journal that we work with has that submission link, but they all at least have some easy link buttons in there. And then we have the project history. The project history, for users on the free plan, you'll get 24 hours of history. And for users on the paid plans, you'll get full project history, so back to the beginning of time. Anyone on a free or a paid plan can label a version. So if I label this version here, and I'll call it version 2, I can go away, and a month later I'll come back and I'll still see my labeled versions. And that's really helpful because I can compare versions. I can also go back and take a look at this old version as well. Okay, so that is the super quick intro to Overleaf. We do have time for more questions, thankfully. We already have, again, a request for the name of that spell checker within Overleaf, and I will write that in the chat. So it's called Rightful with 2 L's at the end. And we also have a question about how does the Mendeley integration work in Overleaf? And this is a good thing to talk about as well. So Mendeley and Zotero, they have direct integrations with Overleaf in paid plans. Any reference, any reference manager will be able to produce a bib file for you that you can use to hold your bibliography. But if you do have Mendeley or Zotero and you have a paid plan, you can click on that upload button and you'll see it prompts you from Mendeley or from Zotero. So I'm going to click that from Mendeley. I'm going to need to relink my account. This happens from time to time, and that's another good point, is that if you ever have any trouble with any of your integrations, let me unlink that. You can just unlink them, and then let me go back and relink and see if this will work. Oh, goodness. You're getting the whole tour here. So I'm going to fill that in. Oh boy, it's going to make me confirm. Who knows if this is going to work? But outside of the demo environment, that's where you go to link your Mendeley account. And I know we're a little short on time, so I don't want to actually go and reconfirm everything. But once you get it linked, I'll switch over to Zotero, and you'll see you can name your file. So I'll call this Zotero references. You can choose the format and then click create. Oh, and now it's not. Boy, I must have done something to my account settings recently to unlink everything. Again, we can just unlink and relink, and that will solve it. But I'm not going to take the time to do all that relinking right now since we're so short on time. So thanks for your patience on that one. We do have some help articles about that if you're interested in seeing step-by-step that I didn't have time to do today. We also have a question about how do you add comments? For instance, how do supervisors include comments in a thesis? So there are a couple of different ways to add comments. So of course, you can use the % to comment out. Some text, and let me accept that. So that comment there will not appear within the compile document. So I can recompile this, and that text commented out with a % does not appear within. So that's one way to comment. The other way to comment is to use that, again, that review functionality. And so if you click and highlight, you'll see an add comment bubble comes up. And this is a great way to comment because it allows you to have a little bit of conversation around that. And then you can go through and you can resolve your comments. If you have multiple comments, you can select a whole section and resolve all the comments in that section. So I'm going to resolve that. We had a question, are the files you create encrypted? So that's a good question. So we do have some additional information about security on our About page. And we do use lots of security measures to make sure that your data stays safe. We are very aware that folks are putting some of the most important work of their lives on our platform, so we take security very seriously. I also have a question about, what about EndNote? Yes, what about EndNote? So EndNote does not have a direct link within Overleaf. However, you can export a bib file from EndNote, and you can upload that file within your project. We also have the ability within your project, you can upload a file from an external URL. So for instance, if you hold that bib file on Dropbox that you can link to, or a Google Drive that you can link to, you can actually use that URL. And anytime you update that file externally, you can update it in here as well. If you just upload the bib file manually, you will have to re-upload that file every time it changes. And of course, if you have Mendeley or Zotero linked, there'll be a little refresh button that you can use to update those files. And we have another question. Can you track changes on a document from different authors? Yes, absolutely. So our history and those changes will show exactly who made the change and when. So we can compare this. I'm going to compare to version 1. And you'll see there's highlighted text, and it says who added this text and when they added it. So yes, you can absolutely see who is making changes on your document. Okay, I know we are just about out of time, so I just want to take this time again to say thank you for joining us today on this webinar. And we will be sending some follow-up emails. I think there's a survey. And if you have any questions about Overleaf, we do encourage you to get in touch with us. We have our support team you can access from our overleaf.com/contact or support@overleaf.com. And we're happy to hear from our users. Thanks so much for joining us today. And